1. We're looking at this 1979 Chevy K5 Blazer listed for $9,000. These classic 4x4s are becoming harder to find, and this one's got a rebuilt motor and transmission that supposedly runs strong according to the seller. With 90,000 miles on the odometer and a clean title, it sounds promising on paper. But I've got to be straight with you folks. This K5 has some serious issues. The seller clearly states it has no brakes, none, zero stopping power. That's not just a minor fix, that's a complete brake system overhaul needed before this thing is remotely safe to drive. It also needs a muffler, so expect this beast to announce its arrival from 3 blocks away. At $9K, you're essentially buying a project with good bones, but immediate safety concerns. Could be worth it if you love these iconic Blazers and have the skills to fix it up. But don't kid yourself. You're not driving this home without a trailer and some serious work ahead. This is definitely not a turnkey vehicle, but rather a canvas for the right enthusiast with mechanical know-how and deep pockets. 2. We're checking out a real American classic, a 1970 Ford F100 Custom Sport, listed for a cool $17,000. This vintage pickup is sporting the desirable 302 cubic inch V8 engine and features a 3-on-the-tree manual transmission. That's a column-shifted 3-speed for you younger folks who might not be familiar with this old-school setup. The seller claims this truck has just 48,000 miles, which is impressively low for a vehicle that's over 50 years old. And for the collectors out there, it apparently has all matching numbers, which significantly boosts its value in the classic truck market. The listing shows it has a clean title too, which is always a relief with vehicles of this vintage. Now, the seller hasn't provided much detail beyond these basics. No mention of restoration history, current running condition, or body rust issues. At $17K, you'd want to give this one a thorough in-person inspection before pulling the trigger. These early F-Series trucks have become seriously collectible in recent years, but prices can vary dramatically based on condition. If you're interested, note that the seller specifically mentions calls only, so don't waste your time texting. This could be your chance to own a piece of Ford truck heritage that still turns heads wherever it goes. Just make sure to do your homework before making the trip to see it. 3. We're diving into an absolute gem, a 1949 Chevrolet 3100 pickup listed for $27,700. This isn't just any old farm truck. This is American automotive history brought back to life. According to the seller, this Chevy underwent a complete ground-up restoration back in 2016, and the attention to detail is seriously impressive. Under the hood, you'll find a late 1950s 235 cubic inch inline 6 that's been professionally rebuilt with a .30 overbore and a mild performance cam. The twin carburetors and split exhaust manifold should give this classic some extra pep, while the electronic ignition adds modern reliability. The blue paint looks immaculate in the photos, and with only 2,681 miles on the odometer since restoration, this truck has barely been broken in. Inside, you get period-correct gauges alongside some carefully chosen upgrades like vintage air conditioning and a new AM/FM vintage-style stereo perfect blend of classic looks with modern convenience. Driving-wise, it's got power brakes with disc conversions up front, but still maintains that authentic experience with manual steering. The Saginaw 4-speed manual transmission is a great pairing for the straight 6. At $27,700, this isn't cheap, but it represents the upper tier of these restored 49, 54 advanced design trucks. For a professional restoration with thoughtful upgrades and complete rust-proofing, the price actually seems fair in today's booming classic truck market. If you're looking for a show-quality example that you can actually drive regularly, this blue beauty deserves a serious look. 4. We're checking out this sweet little time capsule, a 1965 Chevrolet C10 long bed pickup listed for $9,000. This is from that perfect era of Chevy trucks with those clean, timeless body lines that never go out of style. What we've got here is an impressively original example powered by the 283 cubic inch V8, paired with the classic 3-on-the-tree manual transmission. The seller notes it's all original except for the patina that's developed over the green paint. which honestly just adds character to these old workhorses. With 50,349 miles showing on the odometer, though realistically, these old 5-digit odometers have likely rolled over at least once. This C10 has seen some life but still has plenty to give. The good news is that according to the seller, this truck runs and drives good, and that's more than you can say for many classics in this price range. Even better, all the electricals supposedly work, including the wipers, heater, and even the original AM radio. Finding a running driving C10 with a clean title and functional systems for under $10K in today's market is getting harder by the day. Is it perfect? Of course not. You're getting honest patina and likely all the quirks that come with a 55-plus-year-old truck. But for someone looking to enter the classic truck world with a solid driver you can improve over time, this green machine offers a lot of potential at $9K, or potentially less with that OBO tag. These first-gen C10s are only getting more desirable, so finding an honest example like this one is worth a serious look. 5. We're looking at a classic square-body workhorse, a 1984 Chevy pickup listed for $6,000. These 80s Chevys have absolutely exploded in popularity over the last few years, with clean examples commanding serious money. This particular truck is packing the tried-and-true 350 cubic inch V8 with a 4-barrel carb and headers for a little extra rumble. The seller mentions both the engine and transmission have been rebuilt with only about 5,000 miles on them since. That's a major plus in the value column. The truck shows 24,157 miles on the odometer, but the seller honestly notes it's rolled over, so we're looking at 127 plus actual miles. On the positive side, this Chevy's had some serious maintenance done recently. We're talking all 4 new tires, fresh brakes front and rear, new ball joints with an alignment, and even a new windshield with wipers. Mechanically, it sounds like a solid driver that's ready to roll with its clean title and automatic transmission. Now, being straight with you, this isn't a show truck. The seller clearly states it needs bodywork and paint, so expect some rust, dents, or faded paint that will need attention. At $6,000 with the must-sell note, this seems like a decent starting point for a square body project that you can actually drive while you improve it. The mechanical work has been done. Now it just needs someone to give it the cosmetic love it deserves. If you've been wanting to jump into the square body Chevy world before prices climb even higher, this could be your chance. 6. We're checking out a seriously sweet square body, a 1978 Chevy C10 Cheyenne step-side pickup listed for $15,000. This is one of those builds that straddles the line between show truck and street machine, and I'm loving what the seller's done here. Under the hood sits a professionally built 350 small block pushing 325 horsepower, built by Mickelson Racing Engines with full documentation. It's paired with a 350 transmission featuring a shift kit and a stout 12-bolt rear with 4.11 gears. So this thing should move. The ceramic-coated hooker headers and H-pipe exhaust system hint at some serious attention to detail. The interior's been freshly redone with new paint, door seals, carpet, reskinned seat, and more. Meanwhile, the step-side bed has been beautifully restored with black-stained red oak and plenty of clear coat. That's a showstopper detail right there. The truck's been lowered 2 inches up front and 4 inches in the rear for that perfect stance on its 15 inches wheels with meaty tires. Now, being straight with you, this isn't quite a finished show truck. The body is currently in white primer and will need proper prep and paint to truly shine. The hood and fenders could use some adjustment, and while it had factory AC, that system needs completion. But that's reflected in the price. With 68,500 original miles, a clean title, and the seller actively driving it weekly, this is a solid buy for someone wanting a turnkey cruiser they can continue improving. At $15K or best offer, you're getting a ton of professional work already done on an increasingly collectible square-body Chevy. These trucks are only going up in value, folks. 7. We're looking at an absolute beast. A 1973 Chevy K24 X4 in yellow that's listed for $19,500. This is from that golden era of American trucks when they built them tough as nails. And this particular square body has received some serious love. At the heart of this monster sits a rebuilt 454 big block V8. That's 7.4 liters of pure American muscle. This power plant is mated to a freshly rebuilt automatic transmission with a new torque converter. The 4x4 system features the bulletproof GM 14-bolt rear differential and new Dana 44 front hubs, bearings, and brakes. Basically, the holy grail of tough truck drivetrains. The seller has gone through this K20 from top to bottom. Inside, you're looking at all new upholstery with a fresh bench seat cover, new carpet, headliner, dash pad, door panels. Literally, the entire interior has been redone. There's even a new AM/FM stereo to cruise with some tunes. With 21,855 miles showing, though these old odometers typically rolled over at 99,999, a clean title, and what appears to be a meticulous restoration. This 73K20 represents the rising market for these classic 4x4s. At $19,500, you're getting what looks like a turnkey vintage truck that combines classic style with reliable upgrades. These square-body Chevys are only appreciating in value, folks, especially the big block 4x4 models. 8. We're checking out this 1973 Ford Camper Special pickup listed for $6,000. For those who don't know, these Camper Specials were Ford's heavy-duty package designed specifically for hauling slide-in campers. Beefier suspension, stronger frame, the works. This brown beauty is powered by the 360 cubic inch V8 that the seller says starts up strong and holds idle well. With 107,420 miles on the clock and a clean title, there's a lot to like about this vintage hauler. The seller has clearly put some work into the mechanical systems. We're talking new rear brakes, repacked bearings, new kingpins and spindles, fresh calipers and pads, all new shocks, new steering pump, and even a set of brand new Yokohama Geolander tires all around. But I've got to keep it real with you folks. This is definitely a project truck. The seller is refreshingly honest, admitting it was used as a logging truck and shows the dings and dents of hard work. There's rust starting near the driver's door and bed, and most concerning, the engine had what the seller describes as a poor rebuild job that should be redone. That's a significant expense waiting for the new owner. The interior needs work, there's no radio, dash lights need replacing, and the back fuel tank is unusable until flushed. At $6,000 OBO, you're buying a running driving project with good bones and lots of recent maintenance, but don't kid yourself. You'll need to invest more to make this a reliable daily or a proper restoration. If you've been looking for a vintage Ford truck project with character, this could be your ticket. 9. We're looking at something truly special, a 1981 GMC Caballero Amarillo listed for $19,500. If you're not familiar, the Caballero is GMC's version of the El Camino, and the Amarillo package was the top-of-the-line special edition that very few people ordered back in the day. This particular example is something extraordinary, a fully documented numbers-matching survivor with just 58,275 original miles. The two-tone blue and white paint is factory original and appears to be in remarkable condition based on the seller's description. What makes this one even more impressive is that it's received the AACA Historical Preservation Award, which is only given to exceptionally well-preserved original vehicles. Under the hood, you'll find the numbers matching 305 V8, paired with an automatic transmission. But what really sets this Caballero apart is how loaded it is. Factory AC, power windows, power locks, power steering, power disc brakes, and the Deluxe's 60/40ths six-way seat. It even has the F41 Performance suspension package. This level of equipment was rare for these vehicles in 1981. At $19,500, we're definitely talking serious collector territory, but vehicles like this have been steadily appreciating. The Caballero was produced in much smaller numbers than its Chevy cousin, and finding one in this condition, with the desirable Amarillo package, and every option box checked, is genuinely rare. For the right collector looking for something unique that will stand out at any car show, This garage-kept time capsule could be a smart investment. 10. We're checking out a seriously built square body, a 1985 GMC CK 1500 4x4, listed for $24,900. This isn't your average 80s pickup. This is a fully restored and modified monster that's had virtually everything replaced or upgraded. Let's start with the power plant. The original engine has been swapped for a performance-enhanced 350 CI V8 with only 56K miles on it. We're talking 4-bolt mains, comp cams 268H cam, Summit Racing 650 CFM carb, aluminum intake, Vortec heads, and long tube headers. This thing is built to run. The 700R4 transmission was freshly rebuilt just 250 miles ago, and it's all backed by a dual-range 208C transfer case with 4.11 gears front and rear. Standing tall on a 6-inch lift with skyjacker shocks, duals up front, and stabilizers, this black beauty rides on 18-inch wheels wrapped in aggressive 35x12. 5 Nitto Mud Grappler tires. The black exterior looks clean, and the red cloth interior has been completely refreshed with new dash pad, carpet, door panels, and even a Bluetooth-compatible stereo. At $24,900, you're definitely in premium territory for a square-body GMC. But when you factor in the extensive modifications, performance upgrades, and fresh restoration work, you're essentially getting a brand new truck built on a classic platform. These square bodies continue to appreciate, especially well-built examples. 11. We're looking at something you don't see every day. A 1966 Chevrolet C50 medium-duty truck that's been converted into a dump truck, priced at $12,500. These vintage workhorses are becoming increasingly rare, especially in functioning condition. According to the seller, this C50 has been restored to very good condition and runs and drives very well. With 69,819 miles on the clock and a clean title, this appears to be a solid example of Chevy's commercial lineup from the mid-60s. The manual transmission is typical for these old workhorses, giving you that authentic vintage truck experience. What makes this C50 particularly versatile is its potential dual purpose. It's currently set up as a dump truck, but the seller notes it could also serve as a water hauler, capable of carrying a 1,000-plus gallon tank. That's some serious utility whether you're looking for a working truck for your farm, ranch, construction business, or even movie prop. I do have to note that the seller's description is pretty sparse on details. There's no mention of what engine it's running, likely a period-correct inline-6 or V8, no information about the restoration process, and no details about the hydraulic system for the dump bed. For $12,500, you definitely want to inspect this in person and ask about the mechanical condition, hydraulic system integrity, and any rust issues. These vintage commercial trucks have been appreciating as usable classics that stand out from the crowd of typical classic cars. Whether you're looking for a workhorse with character or a unique promotional vehicle for your business, this restored 1966 C50 deserves a closer look. 12. We're checking out a piece of American truck history. A 1968 Chevy C20 listed for $8,750. These late 60s Chevy trucks have a timeless style that's aged like fine wine, with clean body lines and that classic workhorse character. Let's start with the good stuff. The seller describes this as having a very straight body, with a nice front grille and original chrome bumper. It's got all the original factory green tinted glass with surrounding stainless trim, which is getting harder to find these days. The bed is described as straight with no dents or rust, always a major plus on these old trucks. Under the hood sits a newer 350 V8 with a freshly rebuilt carburetor, new HGI distributor, spark plugs, and Flowmaster exhaust. The seller also notes it has no oil leaks and runs very good. But I've got to keep it real with you folks. There are some significant issues that need addressing. First and foremost, the title is missing. That's a major red flag that could cause headaches depending on your state's registration process. Second, there's a transmission problem. Apparently, the original 4-core radiator leaked coolant into the transmission, which is a serious issue that will require transmission work. The truck also needs some electrical work, specifically with the alternator hookup and dash instruments. At $8,750, you're buying a solid starting point with a clean body and running engine. But be ready to invest in a transmission rebuild/replacement and to tackle the missing title situation. It's definitely priced to account for these issues, but they shouldn't be taken lightly. If you're looking for a Project C20 with good bones, this could be a contender. Just go in with eyes wide open. 13. We're looking at a genuine piece of American truck history. A 1963 GMC 1000 step-side long bed for just $4,200. This early 60s pickup represents the golden era of truck design with those classic body lines and that distinctive step-side bed that just oozes vintage charm. What makes this particular truck special is the power plant. It's running the legendary GMC 305 big block V6 engine. For those who don't know, this is not your typical V6. This was GMC's unique beast of a motor, a true big block design that was exclusive to GMC trucks of this era. It's paired with a munchy 4-speed manual transmission for that authentic vintage truck driving experience where you're truly connected to the vehicle. The seller notes, this is a running driving example with current registration and a clean title. That's a huge plus in the vintage truck world where many projects are non-runners or have title issues. With 48,000 miles on the odometer, though these old trucks often rolled over, you're looking at a driver quality classic that you can actually use while you improve it. The deal gets even sweeter as the truck comes with some valuable extras, including another complete 305 V6 big block engine with those rare cross-hatched plaid valve covers that were a premium option back in the day. It's also sitting on good 16-inch truck tires with a spare included. 14. We're checking out a proper work machine. A 1981 Ford F350 dump truck listed for $4,800. This is one of those no-nonsense rigs built during an era when trucks were designed for pure functionality rather than luxury. Power comes from Ford's trusty 351 Windsor V8, that's 5.8 liters of American muscle, paired with a 4-speed manual transmission, a bulletproof combination known for reliability and torque. With 91,000 miles on the clock, this powertrain should have plenty of life left, especially considering the seller mentions recent maintenance, including a new carburetor, wires, plugs, and distributor. The real utility here is obviously the dump bed, perfect for hauling everything from landscape materials to construction debris. These old F350 dumps are becoming harder to find, especially with clean titles, which this one has. Now I've got to keep it real with you folks. This is definitely a worker, not a show truck. The seller is refreshingly honest about rust issues on the cab, fenders, and flatbed. At this price point and age, that's to be expected. But you'll want to inspect just how extensive that rust is before pulling the trigger. The sold as-is mention suggests there may be other issues not specifically detailed in the listing. At $4,800, you're getting a functional dump truck that can immediately go to work, but be prepared for some cosmetic challenges and potentially ongoing maintenance. Perfect for a landscaper, small contractor, or someone with property who needs to haul and dump materials regularly. These old workhorses might not be pretty, but they certainly get the job done. 15. We're checking out a sweet piece of Mopar truck history, a 1967 Dodge D100 pickup listed for $8,200. These second-generation Dodge trucks, 1965 to 1971, are seriously underappreciated classics that are finally starting to get the collector attention they deserve. This green machine is packing Mopar's bulletproof 318 V8 engine, paired with the heavy-duty NP 435 4-speed manual transmission, a rock-solid drivetrain combo that's known for reliability. With just 54,400 original miles claimed on the odometer and a clean title, this appears to be a pretty low-mileage survivor for a truck that's pushing 60 years old. According to the seller, this D100 starts, runs, drives good, and is described as original and complete. Always a plus when looking at vintage trucks, where parts can often go missing over the decades. They've done some maintenance work, including redoing the fuel delivery system from the gas tank to the carburetor. and it's sporting a newer battery, fresh shocks, and new tires and wheels. As a bonus, the original wheels are included with the sale along with a few other parts. At $8,200, or best offer, this seems reasonably priced in today's climbing classic truck market. The seller doesn't mention the body rust condition or interior details, so you definitely want to inspect those areas in person. These old Dodges have a distinctive style that stands out from the sea of Ford and Chevy trucks at car shows, and they're only becoming more sought after as collectors discover their unique charm. If you've been hunting for a driver-quality vintage pickup with Mopar power, this green machine deserves a serious look. 16. We're looking at a 1977 Chevrolet K5 Blazer listed for $23,000. Now I've got to point something out right away. Despite being called a K5, which typically means 4x4, this is actually a two-wheel drive model according to the seller. That's a pretty important detail since most K5 hunters are specifically looking for 4WD capability. This silver Blazer is described as an ongoing frame-off restoration project, which means you're not buying a completely finished vehicle. The good news is that some serious work has already been done. It's sitting on a powder-coated frame and packs a rebuilt 350 V8 with quality components like a Bryant crank and eagle rods. The engine is paired with an Edelbrock carburetor, but was apparently built to stock specs rather than modified for higher performance. Inside, you'll find an interior transplanted from a 1987 Suburban, which is a common upgrade since those later interiors are more comfortable. It's equipped with power windows, locks, and a power tailgate window, though the seller notes these electric features work but are slow. There's also AC that works but needs a recharge, and a Pioneer sound system. I should point out that the title has a lien, meaning there's still money owed on the vehicle. You'll want to make sure that gets sorted out properly during any transaction. With 97,000 miles on the clock and new BF Goodrich tires, this Blazer could be a good starting point. But at $23,000, you're paying a premium for work that's already been done on a restoration that still isn't complete. 17. We're looking at what might be the most mysterious listing I've ever covered. A 1972 Chevrolet something or other listed for $8,500. And I do mean mysterious because the seller has given us almost nothing to go on. First off, we don't even know what model this is. Could be a Chevelle, an Impala, a C10 pickup, a Nova. Your guess is as good as mine, folks. All we know is it's a white 1972 Chevy with an automatic transmission that runs on gas. As opposed to what exactly? The seller describes it as being in good condition and notes that it turns on, not runs great or drives excellent, but simply turns on. That's about as minimal a functionality description as you can possibly get. Does it drive? Does it stop? Does it leak? The listing leaves all these questions unanswered. Perhaps most critically, this mystery Chevy has a salvage title. That means it was previously declared a total loss by an insurance company, which is a major red flag that requires serious investigation. Was it in a major accident? Flood? Fire? There's no explanation provided. At $8,500, you're taking a massive leap of faith without knowing even the basics about this vehicle. I'd strongly recommend getting a lot more information and a thorough in-person inspection before considering this one. Classic 1972 Chevrolets can be amazing vehicles, but with this little information and a salvage title, proceed with extreme caution. This listing is the definition of buyer beware. 18. We're checking out a true time capsule. A 1965 Chevy C10 pickup that's been hibernating for the past 15 years. This yellow classic represents the first generation of C10 trucks that have absolutely exploded in popularity and value over the last decade. Under the hood, you'll find the original straight-six P235 engine paired with a 3-on-the-tree manual transmission, that classic column shift setup that gives you the authentic 60s truck driving experience. With 51,000 miles on the odometer, this appears to be a relatively low mileage example. Though with vehicles this age, it's always possible it's rolled over. Now let me be straight with you folks. This truck comes with some significant issues that need addressing. First, it's got a salvage title with a lien on it. That's a double whammy that will complicate any purchase and potentially affect resale value down the road. The seller describes it as a barn find, that doesn't currently run, though they note it tries to start when gas is added directly to the carburetor. On the positive side, the interior is described as clean and straight with no rips or tears in the seat, and it comes with period-correct wheels. The seller openly admits it needs a restore, but presents it as a good candidate for one. At $10,500, you're definitely paying a premium for a non-running C10 with title issues. In today's hot classic truck market, running examples with clean titles are commanding strong money, but this one will require significant investment beyond the purchase price. 19. We're looking at an absolute American classic, a 1954 Ford F-100 pickup listed for $11,000. These early FE F-100S from 1953 to 1956 have become serious collector items with their iconic rounded fenders, big grille, and perfect proportions that just scream vintage Americana. Under the hood sits Ford's 272 cubic inch Y-block V8, the engine that replaced Ford's famous flathead V8 and represented a big technological step forward for the brand. It's paired with a 4-speed manual transmission, giving you that authentic mechanical connection to this piece of automotive history. The seller notes it runs great and is reliable enough to serve as their daily driver, which is impressive for a nearly 70-year-old truck. The odometer shows 6,348 miles, which almost certainly means it's rolled over at least once, likely 106, 348 plus miles. But that's typical for vehicles of this vintage. The big plus here is that it's a California truck with a clean title and current registration. That likely means less rust issues compared to trucks from wetter or snowier regions. At $11,000, or best offer, this seems reasonably priced in today's hot classic truck market, especially for a running, driving example you can actually use. These 50s F-100S have seen significant appreciation in recent years, with fully restored examples easily commanding $30, 000 plus, and modified Resta mode versions going for much more. 20. We're checking out one sweet Ford car truck, a 1966 Ford Ranchero listed for $17,500. For those who don't know, the Ranchero is Ford's legendary car with a bed that helped create the car truck segment decades before El Caminos and modern utes became popular. This particular 66 is from what many consider the most desirable second-generation Ranchero years, when Ford based it on the Falcon platform. The seller describes it as being in excellent condition with a clean title, and notes it's a local car, always a plus when shopping for classics. Under the hood, we've got some serious modifications going on. It's running a 302 cubic inch V8 engine, which would be a swap, as the 302 wasn't available until 1968, topped with two 4s. That's dual 4-barrel carburetors for a serious performance upgrade. The power is sent through a 5-speed manual transmission, which is definitely an aftermarket upgrade since these originally came with 3 or 4-speed manuals at most. At 123,678 miles, this Ranchero has definitely been driven, but that's not necessarily a bad thing with classics that have been maintained. What's a bit concerning is how brief the listing is. There's no mention of restoration history, undercarriage condition, interior details, or any other specifics that would typically justify the excellent condition rating and the $17,500 asking price. If you're interested, you'll definitely want to see this one in person and ask about documentation for any restoration work. These second-gen Rancheros have been steadily climbing in value, and one with performance upgrades like this could be a blast to drive. Just make sure you know exactly what you're getting at this price point.